I'm done with you.
You promised. Leo, please!
Remove this trash from my estate immediately.
Chapter 1. The Broken Promise. The grand hallway of Vance Manor was built to make ordinary people feel small. Towering marble pillars rose toward vaulted ceilings, while a massive crystal chandelier cast a harsh, blinding radiance over the polished floor. To anyone else, it was a display of incomprehensible wealth. To Elena, it was a gilded cage that was suddenly running out of oxygen. She stood in the middle of the foyer, her cheap leather boots leaving faint, damp smudges on the flawless white marble. Her breath hitched in her throat as she stared at the man standing a few paces ahead of her. Leo Vance. He was dressed in a bespoke charcoal suit, tailored to perfection. His dark hair was slicked back and his sculpted jaw was set in a hard, unyielding line. For 3 years, Elena had lived for the memory of his smile, the soft, secret warmth he used to reserve only for her when they were children playing near the quiet, misty fields of her hometown. Now, looking into his eyes, she found nothing but frozen void. I am going to make this as clear as I possibly can. Elena, Leo said, his voice flat, devoid of a single drop of emotion. I am done with you. The words hung in the air like heavy smoke. Elena blinked, her mind refusing to process the sound. Leo, what are you talking about? Her voice trembled, so soft it was nearly swallowed by the vastness of the room. You came back. You said when you returned from the city, everything would begin for us. Things change, Leo replied smoothly, adjusting the silver cufflinks at his wrists without even glancing up at her. People grow up. I have a company to inherit, a reputation to uphold, and a future to build. You do not fit into any of it. No. A sharp, stabbing pain blossomed in the center of her chest. Hot tears surged behind her eyelids, blurring the vision of the man she had loved since she was 18 years old. She took a hesitant step forward, her knees trembling so violently she could barely keep her balance. You told me to wait for you, Leo. I kept every single letter. I prayed for you every single night. You promised. A promise made by a boy means nothing to the man I am now. He interrupted coldly. Leo finally raised his head, his pale blue eyes locking onto hers. There was no hesitation in his gaze. No guilt, no remorse, just a profound, suffocating apathy that cut deeper than any physical blade ever could. I do not love you, Elena, he stated, enunciating each word with brutal precision. I feel absolutely nothing when I look at you. In fact, if you dropped to your knees and begged me right now, it would not change a single thing. A choked sob escaped Elena's lips. She felt as though the floor beneath her feet had split open, dragging her down into an endless, dark abyss. The tears finally broke free, cascading down her pale, flushed cheeks. How can you say that? She whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of her agony. After everything we shared? After years of waiting? She couldn't accept it. It felt like a nightmare, cruel, distorted prank. Driven by pure desperation, Elena lunged forward. Her cold, trembling fingers reached out and wrapped tightly around his warm wrist. Leo, please, just look at me, she pleaded, her hand shaking against his sleeve. Tell me what I did wrong. Did I say something? Was I too distant while you were away? I can fix it. Whatever it is, I can... Snap. Before she could finish her sentence, Leo's arm whipped back with violent force. He didn't just pull away. He threw her off with a gesture of absolute, unadulterated revulsion. The sudden movement broke her grip instantly, sending Elena stumbling backward. Her heel caught on the edge of her skirt, and she collapsed onto the hard marble floor with a dull thud. Pain shot through her palms as she scraped them against the stone. But she barely felt it. All she could feel was the icy glare Leo directed down at her. Do not touch me, Leo sneered. His top lip curled back in utter disgust as he wiped the sleeve where her fingers had rested, as if her touch had contaminated the expensive fabric. Look at yourself, Elena, crying, groveling on the floor like an animal. It's pathetic. Elena sat on the cold floor, her hands pressed against her chest, struggling to breathe through her violent sobs. I gave you my heart, Leo, and what is that heart worth? Leo let out a harsh, mocking laugh that echoed off the high walls. A driver's daughter with no money, no connections, and a ruined family name? Did you really think a little childhood nostalgia would earn you a seat at the Vance table? He took a step closer, towering over her like a judge passing a final sentence. You smell like an opportunist, he hissed, his tone dripping with venom. You didn't stay loyal to me out of love. You held on to me because you saw an easy ticket out of your miserable peasant life. You thought you could use my family's fortune to elevate yourself? That's not true. Elena cried out, her raw voice echoing in the grand space. She shook her head frantically, fresh tears splashing onto the pristine white marble beneath her. I never cared about your money. I only ever cared about you. Save your pathetic lies! A sharp, aristocratic voice boomed from the grand staircase. Elena flinched. Walking down the sweeping marble stairs was Signora Eleanor Vance, Leo's mother. Draped in silk and diamonds, her face was twisted into a mask of pure arrogance. Two towering, broad-shouldered security guards followed closely behind her. Leo acknowledged calmly, not even bothering to look back at Elena. I told you not to bring this stray into our home. Leo, Eleanor said smoothly, her heels clicking rhythmically against the stone as she approached. She stopped beside her son, looking down at Elena with the same cold revulsion Leo had displayed. She has her mother's blood. Vulgar, scheming, and utterly shameless. I am not a schemer, Signora. Elena whimpered, trying to push herself up, her fingers slipping on her own tears. Silence, Eleanor commanded sharply. She turned to the two security guards with an indifferent wave of her manicured hand. Remove this trash from my estate immediately. If she sets foot near the gates again, call the authorities. Leo. Elena looked up at him one last time, desperate for a single sign, a flinch, a shadow of hesitation. Anything that showed the boy who used to protect her was still in there. Leo simply turned his back on her. He folded his arms, staring up at the grand painting hanging above the fireplace, completely indifferent to her suffering. The two guards stepped forward, their massive, iron-like hands clamped around Elena's upper arms with brutal force. Ah, let go! Elena gasped as the pressure bruised her skin through her thin sleeves. They didn't care. They dragged her across the marble floor, her toe dragging uselessly as she wept. They shoved open the heavy, carved mahogany double doors and hauled her out into the dark, stormy night. Leo! Leo! Her desperate cries were swallowed by a sudden crack of thunder that shook the sky. The guards dragged her down the long stone driveway, showing no mercy as they reached the massive iron gates at the edge of the property. With a final, cruel shove, they threw her out into the rain. Elena fell hard onto the jagged gravel of the access road, her hands and knees taking the brunt of the impact. The sharp stones sliced into her skin, but the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony tearing her soul apart. Clang! The heavy iron gate slammed shut behind her, locked tight with a finality that echoed through the empty night. Above, the clouds burst. Torrential rain poured down in relentless sheets, soaking her clothing within seconds, plastered her dark hair against her face, and mixing with the endless stream of tears running down her cheeks. Elena curled into a ball on the muddy road, clutching her chest as ragged, painful sobs racked her body. The cold water washed over her, but it couldn't douse the burning, suffocating pain inside her heart. She was completely alone, abandoned, humiliated, destroyed by the only man she had ever dared to love. And as the lightning flashed across the black sky, illuminating her broken figure in the storm, Elena wept in the dark, entirely unaware that the eyes of a far more dangerous predator were already watching her from the shadows. That's the end of this chapter. The next chapter is coming very soon. Smash that subscribe button right now and drop a comment below so you won't miss the thrilling next plot twist. See you in the next chapter.